Welcome to the after show. Hey guys, what's up, man? How's it going? Welcome to Puck Nation, episode 28, Yanni, right? 28?
Yes, sir. Episode 28.
I got it right. How
Look
you
at
doing?
that. How you guys doing?
You good?
Doing all right. You know,
Yanni,
as you
you
can see
feeling
the
okay?
background. Yeah, as you can see in the background, I wasn't feeling too hot
you're
the
home
last
today.
2 days.
You got hit, huh? You got hit? Me too.
I think it's the vid, man. I think it's the vid.
Really?
It's back.
It's
Really?
okay. We're holding down the fort over here, and you're still in,
yeah,
so
we're,
it's good.
we're okay.
Yeah.
We're okay.
We'll
So this
see.
is what, episode 28, correct?
Yes, sir.
28? All right. So again, guys, for those listening to us or whatever and viewing us on YouTube, special guest tonight. Everybody knows we're from Montreal, and we have a special guest tonight from one of our radio stations here at TSN690, one of my favorite sports stations here. And I got to say, not because we have the guest on, but because it's true. We always listen, right? They talk sports, and I love this guy. The reason I still listen to him is because of him. And I'm not just saying this because I'm going to throw him flowers. It really is. I listen to him because he's one of the guys that calls it straight, and I love it. So please welcome from TSN690, Simon Tsalikis, man. Bring him on. Yanni, bring him on. Simon, what's up?
How you doing, boys?
Hey,
Good,
Simon,
good,
how
good.
are you?
Thanks for doing this, man.
Doing well.
Yeah, you doing good?
No complaints.
Oh, yeah. Well, it's more expensive, right? If you complain.
Yes.
It's a little bit more expensive, yeah. So fuck that. So Simon, look, I'm going to tell you a little bit about us. We're just a bunch of guys that just love to talk hockey. We love hockey. We love hockey. I'm a big Leafs fan. Mike is a big Oilers fan, and he has been. And I'm telling you, I always have to defend you, Mike. Why? Everyone says, "Oh, Gretzky and the fucking McDavid." No, I've known Mike since he was a little boy, and he's always been an Oilers fan. He loves the fucking Oilers. He just loved the Oilers. So you were lucky. You had Gretzky when I was growing up, and now you got this god.
Yeah.
This guy's not fucking human, but whatever. We'll talk about that later.
And then there's the
Yanni's the
Montreal
pup.
Canadiens.
And Yanni's the pup, and he's the big Habs fan. So
He hasn't learned yet.
yeah, Yanni, you're gonna learn.
Learn today.
Talking about Yanni learning, and I'm a Leafs fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yanni, you don't learn.
No.
Yeah.
You
67, huh?
Shut up.
How did you become a Leafs fan? Like, I know a lot of Bruins fans, and usually a lot of them had to do with either one of two things: Bobby Orr, and I know a lot of my friends who they're Italian. Their dads, like, it was Esposito, right? And I would imagine no different than if if Chelios landed on a team in the early 70s, a lot of the old Greek guys would gravitate to that team. If you played for the Red Wings or the Rangers, well, they probably fan to that. So what drew you to the...
I'll tell you what. I think I told this story on a previous show. My dad, rest his soul, he passed away 5 years ago. My father, as you can tell in Black and Mike, he was the biggest Montreal Canadiens fan. He loved Ken Dryden. I have a big painting of him, of the mask up here. Mike has a couple. Anyway, my father loved the Canadiens. And obviously he lived those 70s Canadian teams, right? The Robinson and the Big Three and, Savard and Lapointe and all that. And he lived it all. He loved it. And I remember on CBC when they used to show the Canadiens games, they would cut after the Canadiens game was over, and they'd say, "We welcome all the viewers from Montreal, blah, blah, blah," and they would show the Leafs, right? So I was a kid, and I started watching Darryl Sittler and Lanny McDonald and Boreas Salming and Ian Turnbull and Mike Palmateer. I love Mike Palmateer. That mask stuck to his face. And I was all excited. I loved their uniforms. And when I would pretend to play, and I'm like, "Oh, Darryl Sittler, whatever, blah, 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 whatever." And I loved Tiger Williams because he would fight all the time, right? Simon, doesn't my father show up with a number 22 jersey that I still have to this day? A little.
Nice.
And since that day, I was a little boy. I was 5, 6 at the time, maybe 7. And since that day, and it's been a lot of bad. Let me tell you, it's been a lot of bad growing up in high school and fucking Italian kids. Oh, fucking Bruins and the Habs, and I wouldn't hear the end of it, man.
Yeah.
And I stuck by them. And I love them. And I still, you can ask the boys. I still love them. And that's probably one of the things we're going to talk. You know what? We're going to get right into it. We're talking about the Leafs. We're going to talk about it. Simon, this week, that's what we do. We talk about what happened this week, okay? And this week, Willie signed. What do you think of the Willie signature?
Look, I think it's fair market value. I think it's a good fit for him too, right? I think a lot of times you spend talking about how well it works for the team. Like, let's not kid ourselves. He's insulated there. Whether it's Marner, who's maybe his equal, Matthews, who I don't believe is his equal. I know that the point totals this year for Nylander are very good, but I think there's two different calibers there. And Tavares. So I think he's open market, does he get more? Maybe, probably. I don't know if you want to go be the man. The way he's built physically doesn't look like Austin Matthews, bigger guy, and Sidney Crosby built a certain way and stuff like that. So I just think it works out well for everybody. Because if Nylander would have went to the open market and he would have landed somewhere where he would have become the man, I don't know if the production is the same. I think he's a very talented player. I really like his game. I do. I think everybody won here. Open market, he could get more, and he got a nice little number that he should be very content with.
I totally agree with you. I had this conversation with the guys last time. Yeah. We were talking about Draisaitl. Remember I told you, what if Draisaitl moved? Remember, Mike? We're talking about the Oilers. What if Draisaitl, is he the same guy without McDavid and without RNH and without Hyman now and whatever, right?
Yeah.
Mike seems to think that he is, because when he had the chance, remember when he was hurt, when McDavid was hurt, he held his own, he held the fort. Okay?
And he won the Hart Trophy.
Yeah, I don't think Willie can do that, and I'm not trying to shit on Willie. You guys know I'm a Leafs fan. I'm not trying to shit on Willie, but I tend to agree with Simon. He is surrounded. I mean, how do you fucking Marner and Matthews and JT and Mo and dude, you're like, you're surrounded by everybody, man.
Well, my biggest thing is, like, I think Willie is absolutely deserving of the money. I think he's a great hockey player. I think it's great that he signed. I'm sure he's happy that he signed for that. But my big issue with it is I just don't understand how they're going to work the cap next season especially.
Next season is going to be a bit of a bitch, I think.
Like, I just don't see it with, like, Tavares. After next season, I understand Tavares is leaving.
Well, maybe not leaving, but he's not getting $13 million.
Yeah, but next season you're going to be completely crippled.
Yep.
Absolutely.
To me, it just seems like it's not even going to change. Nothing's going to change. It's just going to get worse, just for one more year. Because then, correct me if I'm wrong, I think the cap is going up again. It's going up to 87.7 this year, and then it's going to go up again. So you have another couple of mil to play with, and then don't forget, Brody's off the books. JT might be off the books. There's a couple of guys that are gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but Giordano's also getting older. He's going to be retiring. He has a team-friendly contract. Try to find a D-man at $1 million.
Well, they got that kid Benoit.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing will be what they do with Marner. And I think the one thing to keep an eye on is McDavid and how close he is to.
Okay, I'm going to leave the room. Yeah, Simon. I've been saying that for fucking years.
I think that they're going to be in play. And the way they set themselves up, if they let Tavares walk, if they don't, what they do with Marner. If they lock into Marner long-term again, then the likelihood of them landing a big fish. But I can see them, if they let Marner walk, I think it'll be a clear sign that they've spoken to whoever they've had to speak to, and that McDavid may circle Toronto as a destination. I love him in Edmonton. I love him in that uniform. I love him on that ice. I love the profile. It fits everything. I grew up in a world that the Edmonton Oilers, for almost 15 years had the best team in hockey and had the best player in the world. Yep. But I just don't think I don't think he ends his career there. Like when you saw it. Yeah, I don't think so. No, I think you saw it with Sid. I think you saw it with Ovechkin. It was clear that they were content where they are. Winning was good. If you ask me just to bet a buck, nothing more than that. Is McDavid going to explore free agency? I think highly likely.
I think so too.
It's possible. I think. Look, as an Oilers fan, I'll speak and say, like, I think it is possible that they'll move. I did hear yesterday that they're talking about, if you want to keep us, you sign us as a package, the two.
Yeah, I heard that too. That was on Sportsnet. I heard that. Yeah.
Yeah. However, look, is it possible? But I don't know. Will he go to Toronto, or will he go to a place like Colorado? Will he go to a place like, what I mean? It really comes down to if he's going to leave the Oilers, he's going to go to a surefire bet.
Mike, you know what I think it is? At the end, these guys, like, when they're ending their careers, they all love to go home for some reason. They all look.
He's not at the end of his career.
No, I'm saying when it comes up, right?
Yeah.
Look at the Brinket. He could have went anywhere.
Yeah.
No, I want to go back home. You know what I mean? Look, Patrick Kane didn't do it. Patrick Kane could have went to Buffalo.
I'm surprised.
Right? Which surprised the shit out of me. Yeah, I thought he was going to go to Buffalo and really do something there. But even them, they're laying an egg this year. I don't know why. Them and Ottawa. Simon, we were so up on Ottawa. And man, they're just laying a fucking egg. They're doing nothing. And we really thought that Korpisalo was going to be a game changer there, and nothing.
Well, I bought heavy into the goalie, and I thought that would be the. I didn't think he was going to be great, but I didn't think he'd have to be great. Dude, if he can play as good as Sal Montebo, they're a playoff team. And I like Sam. It's not a shot at Sam, but Sam is I think is an above-average goalie. I think there's more upside to his game. But if Ottawa could have got Sam Montembeault goaltending this year, they wouldn't be in the spot that they're in now. Because if you go over their lineup, and I don't have it in front of me, but I remember looking at it a couple of days ago.
What a team!
You went 6-7 deep, and you couldn't even you can't critique Stutzel's year. You can't just from a goals, assist, and point standpoint. Stutzel, Kachuk,
all of them, Brandstrom, all those guys, yeah,
as well. Claude Giroux,
all of them, yeah.
The numbers are good. It's
Batherson.
It's incredible that whether they can't get a save or, I thought Jacques Martin would really work there. Look, it's still early. It's been 2 weeks.
Jacques Martin, though, don't you think that ship has sailed? I mean, I like the old man. Honest to God, I really do. I think he's a defense. I told Mike and Yanni last time, if there's one thing they're going to learn in Ottawa is how to fucking play D.
Yeah.
Because he's a master.
Yeah, I think they need a little bit of structure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's look, I think they're almost at a racetrack. I know they got I don't have it in front of me, but
40-some-odd games.
Yeah, I think they played a lot less games than everybody else, like maybe 3 or 4, but that's not enough. You're at the halfway mark now.
That's right.
But I'd like to just comment, we had Bobby Ryan on, right? And so he actually does a podcast, I'm sure you know, about the Sens.
Yeah, coming in hot, yeah.
Coming in hot. That's and we talked at great lengths with him about the Senators and all this topic. And he said a line that stuck with me very much, and I think it really sums it up. He goes, "They're a great team, they just don't have an identity."
Yeah.
And you know what? I think that's exactly
right. It makes sense.
You know what I mean? It's like it's amazing, a bunch of amazing pieces that just can't come together.
Yeah, there's the puzzle pieces are there, but you can't put them in the right positions, right?
Yeah.
But there's something going on there because now they're talking about, is Brady Tkachuk the problem? Do we need to move Brady Tkachuk? You move that piece, I think you ruin the team.
You do that, Yanni, and they destroy that team.
Yeah.
You move Brady Tkachuk out of there, you're destroying that team. Okay?
Yeah, I know. He's your heart and soul on that team.
That reminds me of when the Canadians moved Patrick. You remember that? Are you kidding me? You're Patrick Roy, you're Mario fucking Tremblay, you're Reggie Hull. You're telling me, you're 3 professionals, the game is over, you can't go in a room and come out friends?
Yeah.
You're telling me, look, dude, it set you back till today, till this day, right now.
That curse
what's
is still
that saying?
going.
I was today years old, whatever, till today. Okay? Yeah. That trade screwed the Habs till today, and I don't care what anybody tells me. Yes or no?
No, for sure. And to go back to Tkachuk, it's a hard sell. And it's not only that. Matthews signed in Toronto, and I thought, as much as people don't like the Leafs or don't like Matthews, that was a glorious day for Canadian hockey.
It was.
Guys weren't signing here. Guys wanted out of Winnipeg. Guys wanted out of Calgary. They want out of Edmonton. We'll see what happens when the other 2 stars in Edmonton. What happens?
Yeah.
So here's a Tkachuk, a young guy. That brand of hockey can sell in all the other 31
markets. Brady is Canadian hockey.
Exactly, and he decided to stay there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Look, I don't watch enough of the Sens to know. I watch the highlights on a nightly basis. But, we didn't even talk about Shabbat and Sanderson. They're talented. And Jacques Martin's a guy that, you know what, you should be able to figure things out and get him on the straight and narrow for 2 months or
remainder.
But
that Shane Pinto thing, all that crap that happened with Shane Pinto and the betting, that sucked.
Yeah, but look,
that from Mr. Michael Enlauer.
Yeah, but your team can't become undone because you lost Shane Pinto, man.
Yeah, but he's that. Well, I know, but he's that good. But it's, one guy is a team.
That should have been.
Yeah. So Simon, going back to Willie's deal, whenever. Okay, what does that mean for Elias Pettersson now in Edmonton? Because he's restricted. Excuse me, in Vancouver, he's restricted this year, right?
He's getting paid.
He's right up there, man. He's right up there. What's he gonna go fetch?
I would think
11.5, 12?
Just a little bit more. I think just a splash more. And I think, look, with all how bad they were last year and all the positive stuff that's going on this year, for him, it's a good spot to be in right now. You're getting all that stuff. Unless you get bounced ugly in the first round, then everything will turn on them. But I think everybody in Vancouver is incredibly pleased with the season. A little bit of postseason success, and then he's going to be able to write his own check.
You think so? Yeah. They're going to say because he's restricted, right?
Yes, I think the Habs should make. I think a whole bunch of teams should hit him with an offer sheet.
Really?
Yeah,
the Canadians
that'd
again.
Be nice.
Yeah,
like the Yahoo thing.
Yeah, but the thing is, so yeah, that's interesting. But Kent Hughes so far has kind of showed restraint in a lot of ways as a general manager. He's kind of really seems ultra focused on this rebuild, which I have to tip my hat to them, because even though I'm Oilers first, I do root for the Habs secondarily, let's say. We've been talking about rebuilds in this city forever, and I feel like Kent Hughes is the first guy that's actually doing one for real. And like we're living it right now, and if it's a good time to be a Habs fan, because I'll tell
Except
you,
tonight.
no,
Wrecked.
but the future.
You're getting hammered.
The future is
San
so
Jose.
bright. Like in terms of defense, you have the strongest young D core there is by far.
I said it.
By far.
I said it. In a couple of years, they will have the top D in the league. What do you think?
Yeah.
I think definitely the quality is there, but they're going to move on somebody. There's just too many of them, and I think for them, I don't think the hope is going to come in the draft. Look, San Jose, great. They're beating the Canadiens tonight. That team is, I think they've lost 12 games in a row.
Yeah.
That team is going to the bottom. Connor Bedard's out 6 to 8 weeks. The Blackhawks are going to the bottom. So the Canadiens are in that mix. Probably, obviously they can still win. Yeah, they can still win the lottery. But if they fall in that 4-5, highly unlikely it's somebody that's going to play in October. So I would use the RFA. I would use the offer sheet.
Really? For Pedersen, you're saying, obviously.
Yeah, Pedersen. If Nylander would have made it to RFA status, whoever, I think it's a quick get out of jail card. I would use it.
Well, you know what? We're talking the good word, the quick. He just said the quick, right? We were talking before, Mike and I, with the Pierre-Luc Dubois trade to Los Angeles. When they got Iafallo and they got Velarde and the other kid too.
It rebuilt their team.
Don't you find it just rebuilt the Winnipeg Jets, Simon? I mean, it jumped them like 2 or 3 years, I find. And the other guys got 17 points in Los Angeles. Dude.
Yeah. And look, the Jets have, Scheifele is legit.
Yeah.
And I think they,
Ehlers and the Connors. Oh, Christ, are you kidding me?
And I think they also, arguably, night in, night out, over an 82-game schedule, they have the best goalie in the league.
Absolutely. I totally agree.
I
just find that trade jumped them up 2 or 3 years. Remember they were saying, Scheifele, I don't know if I want to sign. I don't know the direction we're going. Hellebuyck, I don't know the direction we're going. You get rid of Pierre-Luc Dubois, you're bringing those two guys. Look at them. They're in first place overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. Montreal.
They just jump-started 2 or 3 years. That's just my opinion. It is.
And if Montreal dodged a bullet with Dubois, though.
Everybody dodged the bullet with Dubois.
Yeah, and I was all in on that.
You were really? You wanted Dubois to come here?
I was listen, on paper, the size, you put him, Suzuki, you can do what you want with Doc. You can move Dubois to wing. I was hook line. But again, I also think the team is void of talent. So anytime you dangle talent in front of me,
of course.
Even like Nylander, let's say he would have became available. I don't know if Nylander's the perfect fit. Probably would have been a very good fit. But
it would have helped. How can Nylander hurt?
I said the same thing about Dubois, right? So I bought that. And look, I'm very surprised. Again, I don't watch the Kings play as much as I used to. Actually, when we talked about our second favorite teams, I always liked the Kings. But with Dano and Kopitar there, maybe just can't find the spot. Uncomfortable being bounced to wing at the third line. I don't know, but the number is pretty shocking that he's got that many points.
17 points, man, and the other guys are flying high, baby. They're flying.
Listen,
high.
I was like you, Simon. I was actually, I was like, they should go for Dubois at the time. I really was, but when I turned was when LA gave him the deal, and I saw the contract, the term, and the number. I was like, no, screw that. That's too much. No.
And what went back? And when went back to it?
Well, and then that too.
Are you shitting me?
It's crazy.
That was crazy. I'm like, what the hell is that?
The only thing about Dubois, and I'll say this about Nylander and Patterson, is that I like those guys more because I think offense comes easier to those guys.
Yeah.
With the way the Canadians are built, I don't think there's a whole bunch of guys I don't think there's anybody on the Canadians that offense comes easy to. Makes it works for every point. Cole Caulfield works for every goal. So if you have somebody that just offense comes a little easy to. I take the bait every day.
Yanni was saying at the beginning of the year, Caulfield's going to get 40 this year. Maybe I told you, Yanni, and I'm going to say it again, brother. You know how hard it is to get 40 goals in the National Hockey League? And now that everybody knows, it's one thing when he came into the league, Caulfield, and everybody, was new to him. We don't know how he plays. The kid can shoot the freaking puck. God damn, can he shoot the puck? But now they know. And I know what you're going to say. They all know about Ovechkin, too, and they all know about Matthews, too. I get it. But I don't think he's Ovechkin, and I don't think he's Matthews. You follow?
He's also not surrounded with the talent those guys are surrounded with.
That's right. That's another thing. That's another big thing,
So
right?
they could watch Caulfield and not watch others. You know what I mean?
But 40 goals, Yanni, it's big, brother. It's big. 40 goals is fucking big, man. You know, when I was growing up, it used to be 50.
Yeah.
Right? 50 and 50. I remember when Mike Bossy, who I think is the greatest goal scorer of all time, did it. Oh, he got 50 and 50, 50 and 50, whatever, you know? And then Wayne came along and just hammered in 39, right? Jesus Christ. He needed 5 goals to score to get to 50, and he got them
that night.
that night. That was crazy. You know,
I think if the 40 will come, 35 will come, but
yeah,
you have to get it on the power play. Like as long as your power plays, like you look at Ovechkin or Pasternak or whoever, or line is 17, 18 to a big. I'm not going to compare him to McDavid or Drysdale, but they get in the 20s. You know, when it comes to their goals. So as long as the Canadian power play is garbage, he's never going to get to that 35 mark. He's got to get 15 on the power play. That's how.
That's it.
You know, 15 on the power play, 3 on 3 on 3, and you go and find 17.
And you're already at 30. Exactly.
They get that power play going.
Yeah. I totally agree.
One thing we don't do too often on the show, but just for fun, like we don't try not to indulge too many of the trade rumors because a lot of it's just blah on internet blah blah. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But just because we're talking about this particular subject, about finding someone who could offense comes natural to Montreal.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Zegras chatter.
We're gonna get there with the Cutter Gauthier thing, but we're gonna go ahead.
And I just wanted to kind of think, like, do you think there's any validity whatsoever to that? And do you think he's even the answer? Because this has all of a sudden caught fire the last few days.
Zegras.
And I know he's Cole Caulfield's best friend, an ex-line mate. So do you think that the two of them make the magic, or do you think that just is kind of pie in the sky thinking?
You know, anything that you read from an analytics standpoint, or just a, I don't want to say hockey IQ because that's a knock on a kid that maybe a little bit, you know, too harsh this early in his career. But there's a void there. There's a void on how good he needs to be in his end of the rink. You know, the stuff you hear, you know, attitude and this and that. I don't know. I haven't spoken to anybody, so I'm going on what I see. I don't know if that's the answer. If you ask me to part ways with, you know, somebody on the blue line, no, I wouldn't part ways with you.
I said the same thing, Simon. I said the same thing because they're going to ask for goalie, right? I mean, who are we kidding? Who are we kidding? The first, if you're Pat Verbeek, who's I'm asking for goalie. That's the first thing I'm asking for. You give me, especially now that they lost Drysdale, right?
Yeah.
Right? Because look, this is what they have in their future. Okay, they got the Cutter Gauthier, right? They got Leo Carlson is there, right? Mm-hmm. And Zegras, and then they have Vetrano, McTavish, and Terry. That's their top 6. Which on paper, I know you don't win on paper, but on paper isn't incredible.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm telling you, and I said it before, and not because I know the kid, whatever, but you know what do they say? Where there's smoke, there's fire, and all the rumors about Zegras. He might be a little bit of a shit disturber. You understand? And look, what's his name? Darren Dreger yesterday, he actually said that his name is out there. His name is out there. Now, why would you want to get rid of a talent like that? Maybe he's not good in the room. Maybe he just doesn't do that like Simon said. Maybe his defensive game needs a little bit of help. Maybe there has to be something, right? There has to be something. When you get traded that young that many times.
Yes, I think there's something to be said about why are you trying to move on
from this kid. You know?
If they give you, you know, well, we need to fill the void on the blue line. I don't know who it was. I think it was Mark Denis on with our morning show, and he spoke about the deepest blue line in the NHL / prospects is, I think Mark Denis said it's Anaheim by a mile.
Better than Montreal's?
Yeah. He specifically said Anaheim. He said he gave a shout out to Montreal. Wow. He gave a shout out to somebody else. He goes, and he rattled off guys I've never even heard of. I'm sure.
Even now that they lost Drysdale?
Yeah. He specifically that the blue line, depth on the Ducks blue line is substantial. So
wow, I gotta look into that. That's very interesting. Now, staying with Anaheim, you heard about this whole Gauthier thing, right? Cutter Gauthier. Now, let's get into this, okay? From what Danny Briere said yesterday on the news, when they drafted him, I want to be a Flyer. Now, I get it. I'm not stupid. I know. What else are you gonna say? The guy just give you a jersey, you come into Philadelphia, whatever. All of a sudden, 2 months later, apparently, from what Danny Briere said, I don't want to be a Flyer anymore. Now, maybe I'm old school. Like I told you guys before, maybe I'm old school. Simon, correct me if I'm wrong. If a guy doesn't want to play for me, It's like Tort says. Then I don't want you here. Get lost, because I'll tell you something. You don't win with guys like that. You don't win with guys like that. What's Simon's a football guy. What was it Singletary that said can't win with him? Can't win with him, right? Was it him that said that?
Great
Right?
sound.
Yeah, right? Can't win. That's when he was watching the 49ers or something, right? Listen to me talking fucking football. I mean, anyway. So I don't know. Maybe I'm old school, but if a guy tells me I don't want to be in that room, tell you what, kid, then get the fuck out of here because I don't want you.
Yeah, I 1,000% can't sell anything at that point.
No. What am I gonna do? What?
Especially, it's also certain things in sports go together. The fabric of what it is to be a Philadelphia Flyer, like the Yannis, to be back in the day to be a Raider, it was a certain profile of a player. You know, like even talk about the Patriots and the Patriots way.
Yeah.
Never took the most talented guy. It took the guy that fit exactly what they were doing. So, if maybe it works for other organizations. Maybe if you're really, like if he tries to pull that and maybe he doesn't want to be a Vegas Golden Knight, but you still get him in the lineup, and there's a lot of guys in that locker room who can keep the kid on the straight and narrow. Whatever, man. Maybe he's immature and just help him along and say, look, man, you want to be here. And then he realizes, you're in. I do want to be here. That's not the Flyer way. That fan base. The second that came out, I don't want to be a Flyer. You're gone.
They put you on the street, these guys, man.
It's not only that. They threw Kevin Hayes under the bus, too.
That was full of shit, and I'm so proud of Torts. He did it to this time.
That's disgusting, man.
He actually called out the reporter guy that put Kevin Hayes' name in the news and said that it was his fault. And that douchebag, he says, well, I have proof, and I have this. You have proof? Dude, you don't do that. You don't do that. You don't do that.
Yeah, but that's just not the Flyer way, and definitely it fits the profile of their coach.
Well, Torts, man, you know what I mean? Like,
I think he has to be one of the best coaches in the league.
Yanni, you know what? It's not for everybody. That's not for everybody, man.
Yeah, but you want to win, you need a guy like that.
Yanni, you know what? Years ago, I think I told you, I don't know if I said it on the air, but years ago, I used to play soccer at a very high level, Simon, okay? I had a coach who was a douche, okay? I couldn't stand his fucking guts. And he would make his Great Danes chase us while we're running, okay? Yeah. I'm telling you. You do that, not forget it. You're in fucking Bordeaux, right? You're done. You're in prison. Forget it. Nowadays,
dogs away from you also. Yes.
Yeah. No, you don't understand. Romeo was a fucking douche. But you know what, guys? I went 4 years without losing a game.
You're like,
okay? I went 4 years, and they brought in teams from the States. They brought in teams from fucking everywhere. And you know what? And these guys would all come in with all their jerseys, all the same socks. We were like, dude, you have a sock on you? I had one blue, one black, one purple, fucking hair down to my ass. We went 4 years without losing a game because we knew that. And if you don't come to practice, forget it. Don't even bother coming to the game because you're not playing.
No.
Okay? You're not playing. But so
it's accountability, and Tortorella lasts. I don't know if it lasts. I don't know how long
it doesn't. It does because he has changed his ways. I find. No, he was worse.
I remember when he left Columbus, and I forget the name of the reporter. I think it's Adam Portzline. I think, and he was on with Marinero, and he spoke about how when he was done with Columbus. I don't know if his contract expired, he got fired, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Players were heartbroken. I don't remember which goalie he said at the time was literally in tears. Like, you don't hear that, man. Like,
yeah.
Martin,
your coach leaves, get the fuck out of here. We're happy. Exactly.
Like every other coach, Martin Silly was going to get fired at some point. Jim Montgomery's going to get fired. Or whoever is going to get guys breaking down and crying. So he's got an excellent relationship with some of his players. Look, it's not going to resonate, but again, it's 24 adults. Very rarely one specific style or one specific mindset is going to work with the 24 individuals, but it's popular.
Man. It must be tough, especially coming from that era. It's a different. Look at Marty St. Louis. He loves him. Marty says that he's the greatest coach he ever had.
Yeah.
I think the thing about Torts that's really impressive is not, he's aggressive. Yeah, he's this, he's that. He's very brash. He's blunt. We could say all those things about him. I think the thing that makes him important and the thing that really keeps him employed is that he hates losing.
Guys like that, Mike. Okay.
Yeah.
See, again.
Yeah, I want to take it into this.
Yeah.
Guys like, now again, explosive, people that have explosive reputations, i.e. Patrick Roy, guys like this.
I was going to go with the segue.
Yeah, exactly. And basically, the thing about him is it's his hatred of losing.
I love that.
More than anything else that drives him. And when you got a guy like that coaching your team, I mean, it's almost.
How do you not spit blood for him?
Exactly.
That's what I'm trying to say.
You get guys like John Cooper, and hey, look, They won cups. They had a super team, but they won cups. But that kind of coaching, I feel like after a while, it kind of loses its luster.
But
You
there's
know,
an
it's-
argument also for the other
I
thing,
don't
Mike,
know.
because look at guys like Hitchcock, gone.
Yeah.
Right? They said, oh, they're too rough around
No,
the
but
edge.
being
Look at
rough,
Keenan.
like-
Keenan fucking fell off the face of the earth, right?
I just think being rough is one thing, but I think hating losing, it kind of cultivates a culture of wanting to win more. It just makes everybody around it's contagious.
I think accountability is something. I don't think I don't think you have to be tough. Like, you don't have to be an asshole. I think you have to hold people accountable for their actions, right?
Yeah.
Because Torts, to me, it seems that if you do what he asks for in the system, dude, you're on the ice. And he plays the guys that are hot that very second.
Yeah.
Not because that, oh, but he's making 11 million, he's got to be on the ice. No, dude, if you're not doing your job, you're sticking to the bench. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. What do you think, Simon? I mean, that's just our spitball in here.
Oh,
Accountability.
is a word, the perfect word. And just today, I was watching a lot of TSN, some of the NFL shows, like ex-players like Damian Woody talking about Belichick and Teddy Bruschi, and he's like, the one thing that resonated in the locker room was like, during film study, Tom Brady fucked up, not ridiculed, but he went after Tom in front of everybody. It didn't matter who it was.
It doesn't matter who you are.
Yeah, and I think so. Accountability is definitely a word.
That's what I mean.
That I would use, and I think what goes well with him and the players, and even like Belichick too, right? We see that roughness and all that. I think it's players like, coaches that I know what I'm getting. Like, if I mess up, I'm in a lot of trouble.
And the results are there, Simon.
Exactly, and
The results are there.
You see some teams that, they jump offside on 3rd and 5, and then it's 3rd and 10. Like, it was,
Pay attention, man. Be aware. You know what I mean?
during the Patriots' heydays, man, they didn't beat themselves, and I think there's an element there that, you know what you're gonna get. There's accountability. No matter who you are, you mess up, you're gonna pay for it. And I think that's what players like. They like to know what they stand. A guy that's
Absolutely.
back one day and then doesn't have back the next day. It's probably something that won't.
That's
work.
exactly what I mean. Maybe, like I said, maybe I'm older, maybe I'm old school, but that's what it was in my day. And you were fucking accountable. You had to be, or you're not playing. And you said another key thing before, Mike. You said that Torts doesn't like to lose. And I want to segue into this because Marc-Andre Fleury just tied Patrick Roy, Simon, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think he's ever going to touch Marty. But Fleury, Patrick Roy, and Martin Brodeur. 3 Quebecers from Montreal. Yes, the guys that are listening to us from everywhere were from Montreal. Now, if you had the choice, one game, one championship thing, who are you starting?
Oh, I think it's Patrick Roy, and then
Without a doubt, baby.
Marc-Andre Fleury is a great goalie, but to me, he's not in the conversation with those other 2 guys. They're not.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's not close.
Oh, my God. 3
He's not-
cups?
He's not in the same league.
Oh, my goodness. Okay, can you expand on that?
I can't say 3 cups when in 2 of them he was the
I
backup.
know. He was a backup. I know. I get it.
So
Jared, yeah.
no, to me, those 2 guys, and I'll be 52 in August, so same age as you. To me, it was Rob, Brodeur, Hasek. We
Yeah,
forget
Hank.
the greatness of a guy like Ed Belfort, how good he was. Marc-Andre Fleury is a great goalie, but he's not like. If you don't live in Pittsburgh, you shouldn't be on. And you're 50 years old. There's no way he's on your Mount Rushmore of
goalies.
goalies. I think he's
Fair enough.
Really?
very good. Played on a good team. I take it away. And for a large part of his life, his career,
No, I understand. Yeah.
there was no ties.
That's
So
right.
you add up the overtime win or the overtime loss. That's comparable with
You got to
Patrick.
take that into consideration.
How many times did Patrick Brodeur end the game in a tie? I don't know, 8, 10 a year, 8 ties a year times 10, 12 years in the league. That
Yeah,
becomes-
exactly. It's another whatever wins. Yeah, exactly. That, to me, I said it to these guys before. I just love the way Patrick could not stand to lose. That's what you want in a room. Like, again, it goes back to that Cutter Gauthier thing. You don't win with guys like that, but you give me 23 Patricks, and I don't care about their talent. They don't have to score 50 goals a year. You know what you need? This right here. You give me 23 guys like that. I remember growing up, Simon, and again, you're close to my age. Remember the Islanders? Remember the 80s Islanders? Dude, remember Bobby Nystrom and the Brian Trottier, and obviously they had God in back of me, right? Whatever, Mike Bossy, whatever. But they had a lot of, they had Clark Gillies, right? And then in the back, they had a lot of heart, and that heart got them all those cups. And I don't care what anybody says, heart gets you. Finesse can only take you to a certain spot.
Yeah.
I mean, you need the guts, man. You need the guts. You need the will.
to go back to like Marc-Andre Fleury, like, he's not as good as Carey Price.
Absolutely.
Wow. Oh my God. You guys
No,
are.
I wouldn't
me.
think so either.
Yeah,
Not
you I get it, Yanni, because you're a Habs guy, so you know whatever.
Not on his
Oh
best.
my God, Simon, you're freaking me out here.
He's not on his best day. Like if
Oh my
Canada has to select 3
shit.
goalies from the last 30 years
Yeah, who would they be?
at peak hockey, it would be Roy Brodeur and Price, and there would not be a thought process to even think about.
I think so too.
You too, Yanni, yeah?
Yeah.
Very
Mike?
valid, very valid. Yeah, because look, I I think Fleury's great, but I also keep into account who was in front of him, and I look at but hang on a second. And I know you're going to say about
look at Brodeur, look at fucking Brodeur.
but that's what I was going
to
to
change
say.
the game because of the
I understand,
Who
but
Carey Price
imagine if Patrick was on that Devils team,
yeah.
like
Oh my goodness.
yeah, with Scott
Yeah,
Stevens, Scott Niedermayer, and everybody else
All of them,
in front
Rafalski and Danico, they're all there.
Yeah.
But they had to change the freaking rule. They
Yeah,
had to
I understand.
Get rid of that
but,
red line.
but I'm just putting.
Mark Recchi, right? Like I think I don't know
Ah,
if you can Google it. Like I think he's like top 25 all time in scoring.
Yeah,
He's not the 25th best player in NHL history. Like
that's right. Yeah, sometimes it goes
it's
beyond
true, I
numbers.
guess when you look at it like that,
you're played in a certain era where I think he leads the Flyers. He has a record for Flyers for the most points in a single season. It's 100 something ridiculous.
When he played on that
12th all time.
He's what?
12.
12th all time.
Go figure that.
Oh
No.
shit!
Yeah, so
Hey,
know,
Dino Ciccarelli doesn't have like 700 goals or something like that.
it's not a knock on Mark
Fucking
Recchi.
Ciccarelli.
It's not a knock, but if you play
No, right.
that long and you stick around that long, you accumulate points. Like Mark Recchi's in the Hall of Fame, and to me, Mark Recchi falls in that perfect category. The NHL is different because I think they're very lax, right? Baseball, it's supposed to be very hard to get a great player to the top. So when they started to put in guys like Harold Baines, then the best, I can't remember who said the line, but it's no longer the Hall of Fame. It's just a Hall of Very Good.
Yeah, Hall of Very Good. I heard about. Yeah, it was one of those reporter guys. Yeah,
is a Hall of Very Good. Marc-Andre Fleury is going to be a Hall of maybe very good.
Wow, you guys are flooring me, Mike, and you're agreeing with this.
Well, but
Yanni, you too. You guys are freaking me out.
Yeah, but it's also because you have to look at how valuable the guy is to his team, right? Like Carey Price. Take Carey Price away.
Put him on any other team.
No, but from this Habs team that we've lived with for the last 15
garbage.
years.
Yeah, you have garbage.
Forget it. You're getting the first overall pick for 15 years in a row.
15 fucking years in a row, exactly. It's that's true. That's true.
You know,
Carey had a team.
I feel bad. I've always felt bad for the guy. I feel like it's the one thing that evaded him, and they never put the team in front of him to give it to him.
Whose fault is that? Is that the GM's fault? Is that the owner's fault? Whose fault is that? It's got to be the GM, right? You never got anybody to help the kid.
Well, I mean, whose fault? I mean, it just is what it is, and it's kind of like at this point, it's like he's won everything else, there is to win except the one.
So
thing.
do you think he goes in? You think he goes into the Hall, Carey Price?
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
Yeah.
With no cup.
Yeah. Eric Lindros went in with no cup.
Yeah, Eric Lindros was also at the top of the game for 5 years while he played. So that's a different story.
So was Carey Price.
Yeah.
No, he'll get in for certain.
Really? First ballot?
Is that how they work in the NHL? Yeah, I think he'll probably go in there. Look, he's got
after 5 years or whatever. Yeah.
It's not just your NHL numbers, right? It's a Hockey Hall of Fame. It's not the NHL Hall of Fame. So his World Junior play will come into
so
play.
Everything. Yeah.
His World Cup, his Olympic play will all come into deciding whether or not he gets it. So when you add up everything, he is missing a Stanley Cup, but he's got everything else.
All right. So speaking about the Hall of Fame, okay, I love using the segue thing, Simon. Okay, today I read that our boy Corey Perry is eligible to play again.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about it when all that shit happened. Everything hit the fan. Whatever. I'm not here to tell you. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. Actually, I'm here to tell you I don't know what happened. I know that he got thrown out, and they're talking about him coming back. And before all of this, so if all this stuff in Chicago didn't happen, Corey Perry was as soon as he retires, he was going in, correct? I mean, he's won everything. He's one of those 4 guys or 5 guys that's won everything, right? Do you think, with everything that happened in Chicago, do you think he still gets in?
The Hall of Fame?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
I think so. Too.
Look, I don't know if he's a slam dunk for his ballot Hall of Famer.
Okay.
Look, he's got a Hart Trophy.
He's got everything.
He's got a Rocket Richard Trophy, maybe, I think, as well in there. He's got a lot of hardware. He's got the cups.
He won everything. A Memorial Cup. He won
Yeah.
Stanley Cups. He's won fucking everything. World
Yeah.
Cup. He's won the
Power-
Olympics. Everything.
I don't know if he gets in slam dunk immediately right away,
Think
but
they're gonna forget what happened in Chicago?
1,000%.
Wow, you guys are
Well-
freaking me out
Well,
tonight.
but it's also because we don't even know what happened in Chicago.
Mike, it was good enough for them to fire him, and
Yeah.
and you know what? And they said that every other team would have fired him too, whatever the hell it was.
But again,
Sorry,
yeah, I agree with you, but I don't think it's going to be held against him.
really? And now they're saying he's allowed to play. Now they're saying he's allowed to play.
Yeah, he's eligible. He's a free agent.
He's eligible. That's anybody can grab him. There's a rumor again, of course, Toronto. Every time there's somebody that's available, he's going to
With
Toronto.
what money?
With what cap
Dude,
room?
now what are they going to give? Now they're getting 2 sandwiches from fucking Subways. That's what they're going to give him, right? Dude, he's not getting $4 million like they did in Chicago. There's no
No, that's
way he's
cool.
getting that. That's fucking stupid. They gave him $4 million. They gave Foligno $4 million to protect the kid who still got cracked last week, right? Was it Brendan Smith who hit him?
Yeah.
Was it him?
Yeah.
Welcome to the National Hockey League, kiddo.
Smith, yeah.
Go. He said he never ate junk food. Now he's not gonna fucking even drink junk food, okay? Because his jaw's just wired shut. I don't know what's fun of the kid.
Got a
but-
surgery.
Yeah, like, dude.
But-
I remember we were talking about it.
I've
He's
been
good.
saying it from the beginning.
He's
He's gonna
good.
get
He's-
cracked. He's
He's
small.
gonna get cracked. There's gonna be Trubas in the league. There's gonna be Brendan Smiths in the league. These guys, they come at you, man. They come at you. Look at that douchebag. Look at fucking Cousins. What he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's causing a whole shitstorm, right? We were talking about it last episode, Simon. Okay, again, I keep bringing up this old school thing. In my day, that shit does not happen because you have guys like Chris Nyland on the bench, who I adored. You have guys like Tiger Williams. You have guys like even the newer guys, George Larax and the Tony Twists and the fucking Wade Belaks and the Colton Orr, whatever. I'm just saying, right?
Yeah.
Do you think that should come back, Simon? Do you think they should be able to police themselves again? On their
I
own?
think you try. Look, I don't know about we'll disagree on the having a tough guy on your team deters people from hitting.
You don't agree with that?
I think zero. I agree with zero. And one of the things that we brought up was it during a couple of days ago. I was on the air, maybe a week or so, and I can't remember where the Canadians were getting pushed around. Was it against Carolina that Slavkovsky got laid out? Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
Again,
Well, you need Jack-Eye back in the lineup. You need Jack-Eye. So I'm like, okay. So I want to see where this goes. So why do you want Jack-Eye in the lineup? This doesn't happen. Next caller. Jack-Eye, no. Well, maybe it happened, Simon, but okay, sure. Next caller. And boom, 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 boom. So the fourth caller, I said to him, do you think Zdeno Chara is tough? Because I consider Chris Nyland a friend. I'll talk to him. We've spoken. We play golf. Chris Nyland told me Zdeno Chara is the baddest man on the planet. Okay? So Nathan Horton, a tough guy. Milan Lucic, probably one of the 5 best fighters in the last 20 years.
of all time. Yeah, absolutely.
Johnny Boychuk, another tough son of a bitch. A whole bunch of guys. And again, the alpha male, the great white shark, was Zdeno Chara. With all those guys in the lineup, dressed on the bench,
Yeah,
Nathan Horton left Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Finals motionless on a stretcher.
Yeah.
Mark Savard left the game against the Penguins after a Matt Cook hit motionless on a stretcher.
He's right.
And
that guy.
Patrice Bergeron left the ice against, I think it was against the Flyers one game, motionless on a stretcher. That's
Right.
Nathan Horton, a big-time player. Mark Savard, who was better than Patrice Bergeron when he went down. And the second, maybe third best player in Bruins history. All on a stretcher with the neck thing, motionless. So if Zdeno Chara doesn't stop you, and Milan Lucic and Nathan Horton and Scott Thornton and Johnny Boychuk and a whole bunch of other Rimalia,
Yeah, I forgot about Thornton.
if that doesn't stop you, I don't think having Arbor, Jack-Eye on the bench, Slavkovsky and Cole Caulfield are going to lollygag it around the ice.
You don't think it deters them and says,
No.
listen, man, this happens. Look who's on the bench. They're going to come out and they're going to go after. You don't
No.
think.
Yeah.
It didn't happen to. I remember when Matt Cook was dancing around.
If you ask me, can the team be a little bit more tough? Yes. Can the team be a little bit more tough? Can you have a guy that drops the gloves? Yes. But to live in a world where you think your guys are not going to get run because one dude's sitting on the
No,
bench,
the guys are going to get run. I'm just saying the cheap shots. You know what I mean? The stupidities. Like, look at what Cousins did to Valimaki last week.
and I
It's
don't
on-
think Nick Cousins cares if Arbor, Jack-Eye's on the bench. These guys are.
He's still going to do it.
Yeah. Why? There's Tom Wilson. Tom Wilson was running everybody when
but Tom Wilson could take care of himself, Simon. That's the difference.
Yeah, true. He is, but he still does what he's going to do, right? So, look, I think there's an element of toughness that you need. I think the Canadians lack that, absolutely.
Yeah.
But to think that guys are not going to get run, like I just rattled off maybe the most.
No, you're right. You're right.
Team of the last 20 years.
Absolutely.
Who also had pedigree. They went on to be champions against Nathan Horton.
You're right. I never looked at it that way. You're absolutely right. I always thought I was always of that school of when I grew up. I remember I keep saying this. I mean, if you looked at fucking Guy Lafleur crookedly, Chris Nylander would come there and rip your nose off. You know what I mean? Like, but it was also the instigator wasn't there, right?
Yeah.
It was
that's where I was going to go. Like, I want to throw that caveat in there. That team couldn't do that, police it itself, but etc. But the instigator rule is there.
Because then you put your team in shit, right?
Now, if you remove the instigator rule, is it a different ball game? But those guys, a lot of the guys Mimo mentioned that used to handle and police the ice, that was pre-instigator rule. Yeah. And back then, there was a lot more of that policing going on because they didn't have to think about that rule.
So you're telling me if the instigator rule is gone, Simon, do you still feel the same way?
Probably. Not as less, but like, listen, it's funny because back in the day, you got 10 minutes of fighting and nobody cared.
Nobody gives a shit.
Everybody got what they wanted. You know?
Yeah. Nobody cares. Yeah. You went out, you went smoked a cigarette, and you came back.
You got their pound of flesh, and everybody was happy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd have to do a little bit more of a, if the instigator penalty is not there, probably it would be a little bit easier to police, for sure.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like I said, when I was growing up, Jesus Christ, these guys were savages, man. I remember Dave Semenko, fucking Probert, and
I just don't think guys on your bench. Though. I don't like. You watch the Florida Panthers in Vegas, like those teams are going at it. You couldn't put your 12th player and the Leafs or learn that lesson too if they want to roll Ryan Reeves out in
no,
playoffs.
but that's what I'm saying, Simon. Listen to the guys I mentioned, okay? Probert, 20-goal scorer. Wendell Clark, 30-goal scorer. You know what I mean? Like, there was guys that would be able to do that.
Bob Probert, I don't know.
Well, he was a 20-goal scorer. Yeah, he scored 20 goals.
At the time that a lot of people scored 20. And Mark Recchi scored 30 points 1 year.
Yeah, exactly.
The numbers were a little inflated. Yes. If you eliminate the instigator, maybe there's something to be said there. Yeah. But as long as the playbook is the way it is now, guys are not going to take liberties.
That I agree with. Yeah.
Wow.
It's definitely a different perspective from what we've always discussed. I don't think we've ever looked at it from that angle, and it makes sense.
It does make sense because dude, that team that he just rattled off, arguably one of the fucking toughest. I mean, the Edmonton Oilers had everybody because obviously Wayne was there, so you had to protect Wayne, right? Everybody, Semenko and Lumley, all these guys that were wackos. These guys were fucking wackos when Wayne played, but. The team that he just rattled off in Boston, he's right. I mean, was there anybody tougher than Zdeno Chara in the league? I never looked at it that way.
But the whole team, Aaron Ward and Andrew Ference, not that they were tough. Yeah, they were tough guys.
No, but they were still tough. Yeah.
Guys that can lean on you and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For
sure.
You're
right, man. You're right. All right, look, it's almost time to go, so I want to get into one little thing, okay, Mike? And we're going to talk about your team again because obviously, that shit that happened with Connor McDavid last night, 2 nights ago, with the offside call with Draisaitl, that they took 15 minutes to decide.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to give you my perspective, okay? And not because whatever, McDavid said it. Dude, if it takes you 15 minutes to try to make a decision, then you know what? The call on the ice stands. Shut the fuck up and let's get on with the game. 1, okay? 2, Simon, I'm going to ask you this. Does it always have to be right?
Yes. Now, but I think
not the human element. It always has to be right.
No, too much on the line. There's just too much on the line. Too much playoff line on the line, franchise on the line, jobs.
You're talking
on the
money, right? You're talking Benjamins.
Everything. I don't want to be the guy, a referee that keeps a team out of a playoff spot because of a blown call. But no, you can't go 15 minutes. There has to be an element there. I think the National Football League, I'm not saying they do it best. They go in, they look under the hood, they didn't get out. Don't dissect, take your camera angles and go. But I do believe that with the ability to get it right, you need to get it right. But I just think it's not a broken policy. I just don't think you're ever going to be able to appease everybody.
Obviously. What do they say? It always evens out at the end of the year, right? You're going to get one, you're not going to get one, right? It always. What do you think, Mike?
It's just it's a shame that it happens to, especially when Connor's involved. It's a shame that it happens to these guys, and I just when you see these nonsense, it's almost like it's almost when you watch these linesmen that take 12 years to drop the puck for a draw and all this stuff. It's like you just look at this and you're like,
fucking drop the puck.
These guys
already.
just want their own camera time. Like I'm almost convinced at a certain point that it's like an ego thing, and it's like
Don Cherry used to lose his fucking
and
mind.
it's like it's just the officiating. The biggest issue I have with the officiating in the league, and I know everyone complains about it for different reasons, but the thing that I have, and I think that the NFL does right, actually, is they're not called ever to task for their calls. They're protected, and that's the whole thing. In the NFL, after every game,
they have to answer.
They have to go before a board and justify their calls.
They have to justify their calls.
He does it too in the last 2 minutes of a game. Everything's under review.
Yeah,
The NFL referees, they're not sitting down with members of the media, but they have to. They will be, critiqued.
Do you think that's something the NHL should do?
It's part of the NHL. I just don't know how many good quality referees you have to begin with. It's a different game. It moves so fast. And
they used to get it wrong. They added another guy, and they're getting even more wrong now. It's like fucking an extra set of eyes, and you're fucking it up even more.
It's not going to get easier because guys.
No, the game. It is the fastest game on earth. I mean, you say what you want. The thing that bugs me is that, dude, this wasn't fucking Tom Wilson, and nothing against Tom Wilson. This wasn't Philippe Danault. This was Connor McDavid that says, listen, dude, if you zoom in and zoom in and zoom in and zoom in till you can't zoom in no more and you still don't have it, well, you know what? The call on the ice stands. Let's move on with the game. And I totally agree with that. I think
that's what they should do. It's just give it 2 minutes,
whatever
angles, and then
time limit.
And if after the game another angle comes out and it shows that the player was offside, so we didn't. Okay, great, but we didn't have that in that 2 minute window.
That's right. Tough shit.
And I would like to just throw it
maybe in the postseason, you give them their 15 minutes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I don't think either side's going to care. But when it comes to a regular season game on a Tuesday night, 15 minutes.
You remember that toe thing with Brett Hall? Remember the toe in the crease and all? That caused a shitstorm.
Yeah, but I was just going to say just to draw another parallel to the NFL. And I've been saying this even not just about offside calls, about goal pucks crossing the line and et cetera, et cetera. Why does the NHL invest in cameras from 1996? Yeah. Like, I'm like straight up. If you watch the NFL, they've got 10 billion camera angles. They got cameras flying on wires following the play. They're super HD 4K. You can see the guy's bead of sweat. Mm-hmm. And then in a sport where we really need it to see if it crosses lines or whatever, we're getting like these kind of slow motion 1970s camera, like security cameras. I don't like.
It's faster.
Yeah, but let's invest in real cameras.
I think that would faster, Mike. I don't know. Maybe there's no camera that exists.
I think it's just cheapness. Like I really come on. Like it's like, dude, it would rectify at least 50% of the problem.
And you don't need them everywhere. You just need them on the blue line.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the offside and the goal line, right? Yeah. And didn't Austin Matthews, I think, at the beginning of this year, they tried that chip in the puck, and Matthews and McDavid both said the puck feels different. I mean, how the fuck can it feel different if it's the little chip? It's like what you put in an animal, a little dog.
It's a different weight.
I think every puck does have a chip.
Yeah.
It already has a chip?
If you Google that.
No, really?
It could be.
I think I've heard that. That's because that's how they track shots, passes, speeds, all those things.
It could be.
I'm pretty certain I heard that.
Really? I didn't know.
So the NHL announced pucks that are embedded with tracking technology will no longer be used.
When was that?
That was in 2021.
Okay. There you go. Yeah. Okay. So because they were bitching, they were saying it's a little bit heavier. I mean, give me a fucking break. It's a little.
I really think they just need league wide. They should do what the NFL has done, and they should invest in those high end cameras. You would have so many more very clear, obvious answers to these calls. And just spend the money, man.
And you wouldn't piss off your stars. You don't want to piss off your stars, man. You're already in a sport where in the States, look, let's call a spade a spade. Nobody gives a fucking rat's ass. I mean, they'd rather watch fucking NASCAR than watch the NHL.
Well, it's good, but the fact that McDavid made us think about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't want to piss off your stars, right?
Resident, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway.
Before we call it a night here.
Yes.
Two little things.
Yes.
Jonathan Drouin. He's at 22 points. All right, 8 more
Simon,
points.
I said if he was going to get 30 points this year, I'm going to eat a hat on the air. Okay.
Not or he will.
Sorry.
You said he would or he wouldn't.
No, I said he'll never reach 30 points. Yanni, I'm telling you, this kid's gonna get 29 points, and he's gonna break a hand.
Oh boy.
Okay. Remember, he's not gonna reach 30
8 points away.
Yes.
8 points away.
He
8
won't
more
do it.
points and you're eating a hat. That's all
He's
I'm
got
saying.
like he's on a tear of late though, right?
Yeah, of late. He's gonna bust a leg or something.
We'll see.
Forget it. What up?
It's going to be good
Okay,
content,
you know what?
that's for
Before
sure.
Before we go, Simon, I've been saying this for years. Some people are with me. Some of them are good. Do you agree with me when I say that they just traded for this kid because of his last name?
I don't think so. I think. Look, I think that when they looked around and they found the guy that was a target and he had a francophone for sure, I think it helped. But I can't say that because I thought that I remember working that day for Melnick, and the deal came. We went on the air at 3. The deal came down like at 2:55. We had the premiere. We had Couillard. Philip Couillard was supposed to join us on the show.
Oh,
We
well.
called the premier to tell him you're not coming on today, and his assistant goes,
Sit down, bud.
we heard the news. So we bounced the premier of Quebec,
Jesus
and
Christ.
I would say 80. I'm not going to say it's unanimous, but I'm going to say 80% of the people, including myself at the time, liked the deal. So I think it was just if it was between Drouin and another player, and you take the francophone, hell yeah, you bring a guy.
Do you agree with that, Simon? Do you agree with that?
I think for sure, absolutely. It's
Because
so,
I'll be honest with you, that's what I cannot stand
it goes
about the
anywhere,
Canadians.
like the guy.
Sorry?
That goes for any team though. The Knicks would love to have a kid that grew up in
New
Brooklyn.
York, yeah.
Like
Yeah.
Barcelona would love to have a guy that
Yeah.
came up from their U5 academy.
Sells jerseys.
I don't. Well,
I
it's-
understand
you
if
connect
it's
with
an
them.
equal talent. I understand if it's equal talent. Okay, I really do. Okay, but look, when I read that stuff with Trevor Timmons when he said that he came to the table and he said you need to draft this kid, and the name on the paper was Chris Kreider, and they jumped over that and they took that Louis LeBlanc kid. How the fuck you explain that?
That's a fumble, absolutely. But
Then how can you not say
I don't-
that
I
you
don't
only
think
took him because of the name? You know what I mean?
I don't think Bergevin went out looking for a guy. I think he was sold. I think he hook, line, and sinker on Drouin, like
Yeah.
most of us were.
Yeah, because at the time he was didn't he go third overall?
Third overall.
He went third overall.
Just to go on that day, that at the time Dan Robertson was calling the Canadians game on TSN 690, and
Yeah.
I remembered that Dan made his cut his teeth in the Quebec Major Junior Hockey League. I can't remember what. Yeah, I can't remember what team he was calling for, but it was one of the teams in the Maritimes. And I remember him specifically telling me about Jonathan Drouin. So we got Dan on that show that day. And I asked him, Dan, can you tell me, or you tell our listeners, what you told me about Jonathan Drouin's hands? And his answer was, in the entire lifetime of the Q, only Mario had a better set of hands.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Wow.
Those are big words, man.
So when you hear that, and this is a guy, and Dan grew up
Wow.
calling
And
games.
Dan Robertson is
He's a rink rat. So when you hear that and you watch the highlight films and this and that,
No, it makes sense.
and right there, ladies and gentlemen, is why we have guys like Simon on, okay? Because he's got these fucking stories. Dude, that's incredible.
And
That is
lastly,
incredible.
Lastly, what's up with you, Simon? What are you doing?
Yeah, that's what I want to know,
You're doing
Simon.
your
Tell us
real
what's going on with
estate.
Simon Tsalikis.
look, I got onto the station, I think, 2005. So I think that's I've waited everybody out.
20 years.
Only Sean Starr and of course Mitch Melnick and Sean Starr
Mitch,
were
yeah.
on the station since day number one. I think at the time then it was Tony and then myself, and of course Tony's gone on to other things.
Yes.
So it's a long way to look. I always say this. I tell my wife I have the best part-time job in the world. Full-time, we get to pay the bills here at home, and we get to go to book our tickets to Greece as we did earlier today.
Good for you.
Stuff.
Because
Good for you, brother.
I'm a full-time real estate broker. That's what I do on daily. And lucky enough that I have an excellent relationship with Bell at TSN 690. Look, I'm a substitute teacher. I'm the waitress you call or the waiter you call when it's Father's Day, Mother's Day, and Valentine's Day. That's
Awesome, man.
That's
awesome. Thank you, Simon. Thank you so much for being with us,
boys.
man.
Keep in touch.
Honest to God, I hope you enjoyed yourself. Like I said, we're just three guys that love to talk hockey, man. We really
in
do.
touch,
And
man.
again, I'm not throwing you flowers. I do listen because of you. I
So does
really
my
do.
wife.
So,
That's it.
yeah, really. So,
Thanks.
guys, you can listen to Simon on TSN 690 here in Montreal, right?
Yep.
And is it still called the team? Yeah, right.
TSN.
Team. It's TSN, not the team no more. TSN 690. Excellent. So give him a listen, and if you want to sell your house, give him a shout, man. Simon Tsalikis. give him a shout. Give him a shout. Simon, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you very, very much.
We hopefully will do this again. I want to say thanks to our sponsors too, the Rubs Barbecue, Mike with the Audio Technicas, that's Mike, okay, with the mic, and the Unrivaled Memorabilia. Thank you guys so much for sticking around and for all your love. We'll see you again real soon. Take care, boys.
Bye-bye.